PNR Networks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNR Networks. And thanks for your support.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
I feel like we're in a barnyard this week.
What do you mean?
Well, we've got chickens and more chickens and cats and fish and everything. It's just like a virtual animal farm here.
Well, we don't have one thing anymore.
What's that?
Turkeys.
Oh, well, that's true. We don't have any turkeys, but we do have.
The turkeys are all it.
We do have. Ooh, not. That's nice. I'd like some more, please. We do have lots of other stuff, though, and all of it involving chickens, more chickens, fish, cats, and more.
And a giant sparkly crab.
Plus,
it'll make sense later.
Plus, awards galore, and we'll talk about that in a couple of different segments, and a lot more we got going on. Right here, right now, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Like sands through the barnyard.
This is Subject Cinema. Cluck.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
This town needs an enema.
Celebrating a decade of film podcasting. Lasting out of Beantown, USA, you're tuned into Subject Cinema with T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Directive.
Oh, behave. Yeah.
I volunteer as tribute.
Suppose you run your business and let me run mine. Here's looking at you, kid.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome TC and Kim.
It's going to be one of those weeks, isn't it?
It does seem like it.
Lots of animals are going to have smellies around here. We're going to have to clean. Welcome to Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema number 546, day and date, no, not July. We were just talking about 4th of July. The November 27th, 2016. How is everything this week?
Well, I think everything went pretty okay, all things considered. Happy Thanksgiving, a little late to everybody in America who celebrates.
We hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We hope your teams won.
And if your teams won,
the local
you're not
team,
from Saugus.
the local teams. Explain that, will you please?
I grew up in Saugus, Massachusetts, and I don't know about things where you guys live, but every Thanksgiving we have a tradition here in Massachusetts where two football teams play each other from different towns. Actually, it's not always from different towns because Lynn Classical and Lynn English
different
play each
schools
other.
in the rival schools.
Yeah,
the idea. Yes.
And they play each other every Thanksgiving. And
Saugus always plays Peabody.
Yes. And pretty much every year, Saugus gets rolled over.
Yep, Saugus got rolled over again, 36-3, wasn't it?
This year was not an exception. Every year I check this, and every single year
and you hate football and never cared worth a crap when you were in school anyway.
No, I know.
Yeah, there you go.
One of those funny old things about growing up, I guess.
Yeah. Thanksgiving is out of the way, and now we're into the holiday season.
Yep.
We'll roll into that full time in a week or so, and we got lots of crazy stuff going on because this is going to be the first week of December.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up later this week, if you're listening day and date. If not, that's cool. It's not going to make it any different than it is. But
well, obviously, after Thanksgiving comes Black Friday, which was a complete, craziness for those people who are into it. And Cyber Monday's coming, in case you didn't know that.
Buy Nothing Day is also Black Friday.
Yeah, which I never heard of until you mentioned it.
Yeah, until this year. Anyway, we got lots of good stuff for you, and we hope you'll stay tuned as we head to the South Seas for this week's main screen.
Tonight's movie contains sights and sounds so impressive, you'll wonder why we didn't charge you admission. Candy and popcorn are available from our snack bar. As a courtesy to all in attendance today, please refrain from smoking or talking during our feature presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The movie is about to begin.
The main screen.
For generations, this peaceful island has been home to our family. But beyond our reef, a great danger is coming. Legend tells of a hero who will journey to find the demigod Maui. And together, they will save us all.
Maui!
A boat! A boat!
Maui? Shapeshifter? Demigod of the wind and sea? I am
Hero of men.
What?
It's actually Maui, shapeshifter, demigod of the wind and sea, hero of men. I interrupted from the top. Hero of men. Go. I'm not going on a mission with some little...
It is a film that is being heralded by critics all over the country and around the world as one of, if not the best, animated feature from Walt Disney in a long time. Which is not saying a lot, considering they've released a number in the last 2 or 3 years that have been huge hits and Oscar winners and everything else. This one concerns a girl's voyage from her island to another island, trying to track down a demigod to help save her people. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, starring in Disney's Moana. Give us the rundown.
Moana is the story of a young woman's voyage, but the voyage actually begins long before she was born. Te Fiti was the goddess of the island, who created all of the life on the planet, and when she was done creating life, she herself became an island. And Te Fiti's heart was this small stone, and it was stolen by a demigod named Maui. Maui is a trickster god, a demigod, a shapeshifter, an adventurer, you know, kind of a figure. There's a lot of them in mythologies of all over the world. He stole the heart of Te Fiti and encountered a monster named Tekka, who was made of lava. He fought with Tekka, and the fight caused his magical fish hook and the heart to be lost when Tekka knocked Maui right out of the sky. And after the heart was stolen, the island that Te Fiti created became cursed, and this curse extended out into the world as well. Time passed, and this legend became myth and became something that was talked about among the people and became part of their religion. And a young woman named Moana Wa'aliki is a little girl that lives on an island with her parents and her tribe, and she loves them very much. And when she was a little girl, something amazing happened. She was picked by the ocean as the one who would find Te Fiti's heart. Her father, who is the chieftain of the island named Tui, finds her by the ocean and brings her back to the village, and she doesn't see the heart again until she's grown up into a young woman. Moana, who by this point in the film is a teenager, is the next in line to become chieftain after her father relinquishes the title or passes on. And she has been raised to be the next chieftain, and she has accepted that kind of begrudgingly, because the sea calls to her. Her people live a very prosperous life on this island, at least so far. The biggest rule is not to go out in their boats, fishing and all that, not to go out beyond the reef that's that's near their island, because out beyond the reef is the wild ocean, and that's dangerous and that kind of a thing. But something is calling to Moana to go out there, to see what's beyond that reef, to see what's beyond the world that she knows. Her father and mother want her to stay on the island and become chief when it's her time. But her grandmother Tala, who is her paternal grandmother, tells her to follow her heart and to follow where she needs to be and find her own destiny. The problem is, as she gets older, as Moana's getting older, there's something happening to the island, and it's not a good thing. The fish are disappearing from the lagoon. The coconuts, which the people need to live, they're turning bad. They're rotting from the inside out. This curse that happened all these millennia ago has finally hit this island, and Moana makes a brave decision to try and leave the island to find Maui, to get him to return Te Fiti's heart to her, and that should, take the curse away. This, however, is not going to be an easy task, because let's face it, what quest ever is? First, Moana's got to get out on a boat, which she finds a whole underground cave full of boats, and finds out her people's past and how the past is now going to influence the future as she takes a perilous journey to find Maui and to find her destiny.
With the voices of, I hope I get this right, Auli'i Cravalho as Moana, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Maui, Rachel House as Grandma Tala, Tamura Morrison as Chief Tui, Jermaine Clement as Tamatoa, Nicole Scherzinger as Sina, Alan Tudyk as a number of voices, including the villager and Hey Hey, the chicken. We'll explain that in a minute. Oscar Kitely as the fisherman, and additional voices by Troy Polamalu, Puanuru Cravalho, who I assume is related to the star, and Louise Bush. So, what did you think of this? What was this? Was this as good as everybody has been anticipating?
I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I think it's a great movie for the whole family. I think it has a wonderfully positive message. I think Moana is a terrific addition to the pantheon of Disney princesses.
But she says she's not a princess. She insists she's not a princess throughout the entire film.
Yeah. Well, she's wrong. I'm sorry. If you're the daughter of the ruler of the island, you're a princess. I'm sorry.
Maybe she doesn't want to be called a princess. Maybe she would prefer to be called something else.
Well.
Oh, well.
I think this movie's great. I really do. I think that it's got a quirkiness to it that I really, really like. That it has... It says a lot of things to a lot of different people. I'm sure for a lot of people who are of Polynesian descent, this might be a story or a variation on a story that they have heard growing up. So that must be cool for them to see that on the big screen. I think that would be really neat. I think that the heroine, I think Moana, like I said, I think she's a terrific role model for young girls because she's in a situation where she really, at the start of it, she doesn't know how to sail really well. I mean, she almost drowns one of the times she goes out to sail, but the ocean protects her, and she doesn't give up. She just keeps trying because she knows this is what she needs to do because she wants to save her people. And I think that she really is a terrific character. The artwork in this movie is just amazing. It is absolutely breathtakingly good. I knew Dwayne Johnson could be funny. I mean, we've been fans of Dwayne ever since he burst onto the wrestling scene as Rocky Maivia way back in the day. Sorry, Dwayne. And we always knew he had a great sense of humor, but oh my gosh, in this movie, he is just fall down funny sometimes. His solo song, which is a song called You're Welcome, is just absolutely hysterical. I always thought Rocky had a great voice. And I think he really is a wonderful scene stealer in this film.
If you thought he's always had a great voice, then you need to have your ears tuned up, because when he used to sing as The Rock in WWE, he was so off-key that it was scary.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you are a really good singer, you can also sing really badly and make it work. Look at Meryl Streep. We know Meryl Streep is a beautiful singer. She was absolutely fantastic in Prairie Home Companion. And then you hear that noise that she was making in Florence Foster Jenkins,
Okay.
But I really think that it's an exciting movie. It's scary in some parts, but not too scary for little kids. We went to a showing that had a lot of little kids, and they were totally into it. They were totally into the movie. There wasn't a lot of fidgeting and yelling and running around. I thought it was great. What about you?
Well, first off, the original songs for the film, written by Opataya Foe, I think it's pronounced, score composer Mark Mancina, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, who is, of course, Mr. Hamilton himself. The songs are spectacularly good.
They are.
From beginning to end, and the song that Moana sings at the beginning it's not quite as catchy as Let It Go. I don't think it's going to be a big, huge hit and crossover the way that Let It Go became from Frozen 3 years ago. But it does. Dwayne's You're Welcome does have that potential. And there's also other versions of both songs on the soundtrack by more recognizable stars.
I actually want to say something real quick. Moana's song didn't really remind me so much of Frozen's Let It Go. It did remind me of Belle's song at the beginning of Beauty and the Beast, which I know you didn't see. So
no. I thought it had a very Colors of the Wind vibe to it myself from Pocahontas, but which was a big hit for Vanessa Williams, of course. Directed by Ron Clements, John Musker, and co-directed by Don Hall and Chris Williams. The artwork is exquisite on this film. It is like some of the best, and it is intricate because of Maui has these body tattoos, these henna tattoos, as all of the men of the tribes go through.
It's not henna.
Well, what is it?
They showed the kid getting the tattoo. They take a stone and they...
Right, but they use something, so it's probably henna started or henna based.
I don't know. I'm not sure how they... I know it's extremely intricate and very painful.
But Maui's are different. They change constantly.
They move.
With what he's got going.
Yeah.
The performances here are great, and the two stars have amazing chemistry. The songs are fantastic. It's just an all-around great film for the entire family. It is fall-down funny in places, and a lot of that is due to Alan Tudyk. What a surprise. Alan Tudyk is an expert scene stealer, both in live form and as a voiceover artist. Mm-hmm. He voices Moana's pet chicken?
Rooster, yeah.
Pet, but you would agree that he's a pet.
He's a pet.
Hey,
yeah.
Who is quite possibly, no offense to any lovers of chickens out there, the stupidest chicken to ever hit on screen. And because he is kind of out there and
stupid,
slightly he's too what would you call that? 2 degrees shy of straight.
He's rock stupid. He's dumb as a bag of hammers. Just say it.
And I'm just trying to... I don't want all the chicken huggers to get upset. I mean, they might get all upset and start shooting off, nasty letters that begin with "Pakaak" in them.
He doesn't know how to eat on his own.
Yeah, he has to be, nudged to eat right. He eats rocks and wood and everything else. But he's killingly funny, and it's because of where he ends up. She also has a pet pig. Which doesn't figure into it after the first few minutes because she kind of leaves him behind on the island. The performance by Jermaine Clement as Tamatoa is brilliant. I'm not a big fan of his, and I didn't know who was doing it. I thought Alan Tudyk was doing that voice. I'm hella impressed by the performance in this film, and it reminded me of Tim Curry. The vocal stylings, the way that it's set up, it reminds me very much of Tim Curry, especially in Rocky Horror, but in other things he's done too. And I was very impressed. Visually, this thing is just a stunner, and the artwork is incredible, and the direction, everything just comes together to make quite possibly Disney's most perfect film in a long time. What's your score?
Before I give my score...
We'll talk about the shorts separately.
Okay. I give Moana an A. A very strong A.
Just an A? Wow. What knocked it down from A+?
I just didn't give it an A+. I didn't feel an A+. I felt a very powerful A.
Okay. Wow. Because I definitely think it deserves the top score, and I think it's fantastic. The score is available on all the download sites and all the streaming sites, and you can listen to it without going to see the movie. And I have a feeling once you hear it, you're going to want to see what it goes with, because it makes it a lot more clear. But also because the songs are that magical, they'll draw you in. There is something to this rumor about Lin-Manuel being a genius when it comes to writing lyrics. Because there's some stuff in this that is right out of his hip-hop background from In the Heights and Hamilton that just sparkles. Moana is utterly fantastic. A+ from me. It is in theaters everywhere.
No film is too good or too bad for us. This is Subject Cinema.
In a world where podcasts already seem to address every imaginable subject, one man broke new ground with a seemingly random obsession about exploding helicopters in movies. He was a podcaster on the edge, a maverick broadcaster who played by his own rules. Now, he has a last chance to talk about the strange way helicopters explode in film. Exploding Helicopter, available on iTunes and Podomatic now. Think you know about chopper fireballs? Think again.
Subject Cinema!
Freeze frame this week. As we've said last week, I brought it up last week. We are in the beginnings, or are we actually in the middle of what is commonly known to film fans as award season? It starts in September with the Toronto Film Festival, and it runs until the following February with the awarding of the Academy Awards. And everything in between goes nuts.
Since the Oscars are in February, I would say we're in the middle right now.
Yeah, because the awards really start getting underway this week. Yeah. Now, you're listening day and date. This is going to be accurate. If you're listening evergreen stuff, it's still accurate for the dates, but you'll have to go back and find stuff. This week, there are... the Gotham Awards, which are the first announced every year, will actually be given away day and date Monday the 28th, so we'll have those awards for you next week. There's also the Broadcast Film Critics will announce their nominations on December 1st, as will... what was the other one? No, not the Annie Awards, which is the Animation Awards, will be announced on December 1st. No, those come out November 28th. I'm sorry, those come out tomorrow. The nominations for the Annies. And then on the 1st, we get the Boston Film Critics Association, and we get the New York Film Critics Association, and I believe the National Board of Review is Thursday the 30th. Now, this is where we get into the ridiculousness of the awards season. I have a site...
Besides the usual ridiculousness of the awards season.
Right. Now, in addition to all the important guilds, now these are the guilds that give the official awards. That's, Directors Guild, Writers Guild, Producers Guild, so on and so forth. Screen Actors Guild, those nominations will be out December 14th. There are also a myriad of critics groups.
Yes.
Over 30 different critics groups will be awarding their best films of the year sometime in December or early January.
That's the myriad.
30 of them. I mean, that seems to be ridiculous. It's always started off with the National Board of Review. Everybody kind of takes the National Board of Review as a joke. They're a fan-based organization. You have to pay $800 a year for membership, and you get to go to these special film things, and they're based in New York. Every year, their critics, I won't say this because I don't really know it that well, but their critics point out that every year they name the movies whose stars they want to see show up in January at their awards ceremony. Mm-hmm. You can expect Clint Eastwood to win a ton of stuff because he's always going, and Sully is out this year. You can probably expect other big films to do well, and one or two indies to do well there. Then you get into the list of independent film critic awards. Now, here we go. I just want to run these down because I find it really funny that there's so many of them. In the next month and a half, we will see either just a list of awards or a list of nominees first and then later awards from, here we go, the Washington, D.C. Area Film Critics Association, the New York Film Critics Online, the Indiana Film Journalists Association, the North Carolina Film Critics Association, which I didn't even know existed until now, the National Society of Film Critics, of course, that's the big one. London Film Critics Circle, Austin Film Critics Association, Black Film Critics Circle, Boston Society of Film Critics, Boston Online Society of Film Critics, Central Ohio Film Critics Association, Chicago Film Critics Association, Dallas-Fort Worth Film Critics Association, Denver, Detroit, Florida, Gay and Lesbian, Georgia, Iowa, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, I mentioned already, Maverick, the Maverick Movie Awards, New York Film Critics Circle, North Texas, the Political Film Society, San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, St. Louis, the Village Voice Film Poll. I mean, we're out of control. These are the major film critics. Now, of course, all of the online publications do the same thing. The Playlist, CriticWire, which I'm a part of still. I'm surprised when CriticWire changed their site this year and were bought out by Penske. They kind of dumped all the independent critics, and yet I still got the critics nomination form this year. So apparently my awards are still good. I just can't be printing stuff over there. I don't know. And all these other groups. And I mean, is it becoming overkill? Really, is it becoming overkill? I mean, we're guilty too. We give the poppies and rosies on New Year's Eve every year. And there's a lot of podcasts out there that do their own award shows. Yep. A lot of individual film critics that give their own awards. Yep. You get like 400 critics associations podcasts that do awards every year between December 1st and January 15th.
This is true.
All of them hoping to have some kind of effect on Oscar, but they really don't. I mean, in all honesty. The only ones that seem to have any influence on the Academy over the last year are New York, Los Angeles, Boston. And occasionally one or two other ones. But Boston goes its own way. I love the Boston Film Critics Association, even though they turned us down for membership. I do love them because, number one, they have some of the best critics. We have some of the best critics up here in the world, including Ty Burr and Peter Keogh and Joyce Kulhawick and a bunch of other great critics up here. And they put together an eclectic list every year. They were the first ones to give Ezra Miller a supporting actor award for Perks of Being a Wallflower a couple years ago. Before that, they gave Wall-E Best Picture. Yep. You gotta love the Boston Film Critics. Then there's the Boston Online Film Critics, who also have a very eclectic look at thing and who also turned us down for membership. There is an interesting way of looking at things there because they usually skew more popular. They're a smaller group. They skew with more bloggers and less film actual print critics, although they do have some that are on the film, the various publications like the Dig and the Globe and various tab newspapers around the area.
The late lamented Boston Phoenix.
Phoenix had several of them. It's always fun. Los Angeles and New York can get kind of tedious, although Los Angeles kind of bends its own way the way Boston does. But New York, I mean, every year you have Rex Reed or one of the other ones out there bitching all day on Twitter about how things are not going their way during the negotiations, because they do it all day, and they got like almost 100 critics in this group, because that's how many different things go on in New York. And then they have the online group, which is kind of all to itself, and they do, specifically internet-related criticism, publication, podcast, and all that stuff.
Right.
It gets crazy.
It gets mega confusing.
When is there too much when it comes to awards at the end of the year?
Well, I don't know if it's too much, because everybody's entitled to their opinion. What I think the problem is, and where I think the problem stems from, is the fact that certain people feel like their voice is more important than somebody else's voice, simply because they've been around longer or they feel they have more prestige. Everybody's...
Gee, this sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Doesn't it, though?
Go back a few weeks.
Gosh, where have I heard this before?
A couple of Tuesdays ago. Anyway.
Let's dream.
Is there a parallel between the kind of stuff that goes on with the election and happened in the election and the stuff that's going to happen in the next 6 weeks, as far as the sides and the wars going on between both sides and the third parties?
Well, I would like to think that things won't be as nasty and as
I don't think
vicious
they will be as nasty and vicious, no.
Well, no. We know for a fact that there have been a couple of times that Hollywood campaigns against other films have actually gotten pretty mean.
Well, yeah, but that's the Oscars. We're talking the Critics Association.
No,
here.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't. I just think that some people are like, well, we're more important, and you should listen to us because blah, blah, blah.
Well, I know. That's what gets me. I mean, I love hearing some of these out-of-the-way ones. I didn't even know North Carolina had their own film critics group, so that's kind of neat. But... I knew about the Indiana film critics, and I knew about the Oklahoma film critics, and I knew about the rest of them, and we do bring them to you every year throughout awards season on Red Carpet Monitor. And it's fun to watch them, because sometimes they do pick unexpected winners. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were, including the Boston Online Film Critics, last year were confounding Academy people by picking Mad Max Fury Road as Best Picture. And it's like... okay, and completely confusing us because we didn't see what everybody else saw.
I thought it was a fun action movie, but I do not understand all of the critical, platitudes that were heaped at its feet. I don't get that.
Yeah. So this week is the start of it. We will have, as you're going to want to check eCinemaOne, and you want to check it all the time anyway at eCinemaOne.com. But this week, day and date, as we're going to press, you'll want to check it, because we will have the nominations as they occur for the Critics' Choice Awards, the Annie Awards, and then, of course, later on in the week, the announcements of Boston. I'm sorry, Boston's the 11th. I had the wrong date. No, sorry, that's BFC. Oh, that's the Film Critics. I'm sorry, I looked at the thing wrong. Boston is the 11th, sorry. Boston Broadcast Film Critics, that's the Critics' Choice Awards. That's December 1st. December 4th for LA, and December 1st for New York Film Critics Circle and National Board of Review. Likely November 30th. The big problem this year, Martin Scorsese's Silence, which is just barely finished and just made it in time to screen for the National Board of Review, but they will not be screening it for the Broadcast Film Critics, which I find interesting because that takes them out of the equation for the Critics' Choice Awards. And, that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. We'd love to know if you think it's overkill. We'd love to know if you think it's enough, or if you think there needs to be even more. And we'd also love to know what your favorite films of this year are. Please let us know. Subject Cinema at PNRNetworks.com.
Subject Cinema.
The Silver Stream.
Westminster of the chickens.
All the best breeders are here. They all bring their best birds.
They're nitpicking everything. It's the eye color, it's the feather quality, it's the wings, the feet, the toes, it's the whole package.
We have a written description of every feather, what it's exactly supposed to be.
I've studied my standard of perfection time and time and time again.
I've been called obsessive, which,
You're going to get the neighbors to call the police. Stop it.
Over the past few days, we have had a chance to see a documentary which had its premiere at the South by Southwest Film Festival this year. And the minute it showed up there, I have been wanting to see it. I have been trying to get a screener for months. It has not shown in the Boston area, but now it is out on DVD for you to peruse, and it is also running throughout the holidays on CMT. Give us the rundown on the documentary Chicken People.
Are you going to keep doing that through the entire review?
That's a no.
Good. Because that would really cock it up.
Oh. I can't believe you went there. You really laid an egg with that one.
Well, I guess the yoke's on me. Please stop. Please make it stop. It's going to get worse. All right, okay. All seriousness. Here we go. Chicken People is a documentary about people who raise chickens. Now, I know some people might go, fascinating, but this isn't raising chickens in the way you would normally think of raising chickens, and these aren't chickens in the way you normally think of chickens. Normally, when I think of a chicken, I think of a bird that's about that big.
That's helpful on an audio show. That big,
slightly less than knee high, is brown or white. They lay eggs, and when they stop laying eggs, you kill them and eat them. That's it.
What do you think this is? Mrs. Tweedy's chicken farm?
Sorry.
No.
But I never realized there were so many different kinds of chickens out there. Like so many different, that there's so many different colors and chickens that look a certain way. And, you've got tall chickens and short chickens and chickens that look like they mated with dandelions and
ostriches.
And ostriches.
And we should all point out that this is not chickens just for raising chickens. These people raise chickens for show.
Right, to show them.
Like the Westminster Dog Show for chickens.
Well, it's actually not just for chickens, though.
For poultry. Sorry, it is for poultry. Ducks and turkeys also included in most of them.
Ducks, turkeys, and geese and stuff like that. That people actually do this. Regular people. Not like people that you would, not want to be on the same side of the street with. Chicken People looks at people that are involved with this. I don't want to call it a hobby because for some of these people it's a business. For some of them it's a passion. It's definitely more than just a pastime or a fluke or anything like that. Chicken People looks at several different people from all over the country and their processes of breeding the best looking chickens and the chickens that best meet the qualifications in this book that has been, it was written like back in the 1800s or something.
I think it was 1907, I think it said on the book, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. But this specific chicken is supposed to look this specific way. And I was like, what the hell do you mean, this specific chicken? How many specific kind of chickens are there? Well, this opened up my eyes. I'm serious. I never realized there were so many kinds of chickens just in this country. I mean, I can't even think about what it must be like in other parts of the world. Holy crap. Chicken People takes a specific look at, I would say, three people most specifically.
The three people that are involved are Brian Karacker, who is actually a singer. He works in Branson, Missouri, and his parents...
Purpose.
Yeah, and his parents actually help him out with his running. He looks like he's in his mid-20s, maybe pushing 30. There's Brian Knox, who in his real job is a engineer at the New Hampshire Raceway in New Hampshire. The what do they call that? Drag racing.
Tractor pulling. And that's another thing about this movie. Now I know what a tractor pull is.
And
I never knew.
And Sherry McCullough, a recovering alcoholic and a housewife and mom in, I believe they said, Central Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3 focal points of this. Plus, they have interviews with about at least 50 other people.
Mm-hmm. This is a really quirky sort of a film, and I don't mean quirky in a bad way. I don't. Because when you think about it, the nicest thing I can say about this film, and I mean this in a really positive way, it does not make fun of its subject matter.
No, it doesn't. It treats it very seriously.
Nor does it make fun of, the subject matter is the chickens. And it doesn't make fun of the people who are raising these chickens. It doesn't make them look like they're weird or, socially backward or anything like that.
I would debate that, but we'll get to that. Go ahead.
That's not the movie. That's just them.
It is. Yes, it is.
But considering the fact that both you and I are off the shade of normal,
yes,
we're not. I'm not going to point fingers.
I agree 100%.
I am not going to point fingers at anybody else and be like, "That's weird."
No, I wouldn't either.
I think the thing about this film is the fact that these are people that have a passion about something, and whatever you have a passion about, that's a good thing, as long as it's something that you can be like, okay, I'm spending time on this now, and now I'm going to go over here and do something else. When it takes up 24/7 of your time and all of your money, and that and it's separating you from the world in general, that's not a good thing. But everybody has their things that they love, that are important to them for whatever reason. With you, I would say if somebody said name something that TC loves, the first thing that would pop into my mind would be music. Because you know so much about music, about bands and singers and when this song was where on what chart and stuff like that.
I'm a chart person, yeah.
And it's neat. Watching you just pull that stuff out of your head, it's so cool. I think it's cool.
Well, I can say the same thing about you and your love for mythology. I depended on you a lot when we saw Moana because although you weren't that familiar with the Polynesian myths, you were still able to come up with some other stuff that for the ones you were familiar with that is kind of correlated to it.
Yeah. Well, everything has things you can kind of say, well, you could look at this god and say, well, in this mythology, you could, parallel them and stuff like that.
Right.
Which I've always found really fascinating, that no matter where people are in the world, there are certain archetypes that are the same, the warrior, the wanderer, the trickster, that kind of thing.
And the chicken person.
I think that anybody who looks at something like this and laughs should really look at themselves and say, why do you find this funny? Why do you find somebody else's passion funny when some people think it's perfectly normal to paint half your body green and half your body yellow, go stand out in an open field when it's minus 20 degrees with a foam block of cheese on your head? That's normal. That's being a fan because, that's acceptable. But people look at this and be like, it's weird. I think that this film is actually really a really positive look at these people and what they go through and what they have to sacrifice to raise these chickens. And you can tell, especially the lady. We were both kind of like, sorry, what's her name?
Sherry McCullough is the woman, yes.
Sherry, at first, we were both kind of like, okay. But by the end of the film, I was like, she's really a nice lady. Yeah. And when she's talking about the fact that one of the things that you have to deal with, unfortunately, a chicken is a living thing, and living things die, and that she went through a period where a bunch of her chickens got ill. They got some kind of disease that I guess spreads very fast through, if you have like a bunch of chickens, they can all get it at once. And they all died. And they were young chickens. And, when you think about it, I know some people are probably like, oh, that's a chicken, get over it. But...
Well, it's your livelihood. You don't get over it that fast.
No. Not only is it your livelihood, you care about them. It's a living thing. And I would think, especially for some people, I'm sure for some people it's just a business. But when you watch, you watch an egg and you watch this little living thing come out of the egg on its own, no help from anybody else. They do that.
Except maybe some of the other chicks.
Yeah, but they're not doing it on purpose. They're not all standing around going, "Come on, guys, Phil needs help." Peck, peck, peck.
We don't know that.
They're not,
They might be. We don't know that.
But for the most part, chickens or birds, and snakes actually,
Yeah.
do that on their own. They come out of the egg, boom, they're out. That's it. They open their eyes right after they're born, and they're up and walking around. How long does it take us to do that? And we're the most evolved things on this planet?
All right, back to the movie.
But I think that this is... It makes something that you would be like, what? It makes it interesting. And when you see people actually given prizes for these chickens, you're happy for them. I was happy for them. Although, to be perfectly honest, I don't have any idea how you judge a chicken. I mean, I actually don't have any idea how you judge dogs, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you see a whole row of... No, actually, when you see a whole building full of chickens, first of all, I'm like, oh man, that's way too noisy. I was like, okay, I would be outside because I could not deal with that much sound because it's loud. Chickens are not quiet animals.
It's very loud in the building that housed the Ohio Nationals in 2014.
Yeah.
Very loud.
Chickens are not quiet. But I'm sorry, when you see all these chickens and you see the person judging them and checking off the things on their little notebook and stuff like that, I'm like, how does that chicken look any different from that chicken, look any different from that chicken, look any... on and on and on and on and on. I didn't see any difference. I don't know about you, but I was like...
I thought it was interesting because... Brian Knox, in particular, raises a type of chicken that has specific coloring on each feather.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it look like it has this wonderful stencil coat of black on each part of the feather. I've never seen a chicken like that before.
I've never seen one either.
And it was very interesting to see that. But he's able to tell exactly what the judges are going to be looking for. He knows that this is going to be, the slight defect could set it off. That might not be the one to take to the competition, and he knows inside and out what the judges are looking for.
I also have to say one thing, at the risk of sounding like a prude, and goodness knows I'd like to think I'm not a prude, but did we really need the scenes of chicken sex? I didn't need that. I am going to throw this computer at your head in a minute. I'm not kidding. I mean, I don't know.
That actually lasted about as long as chicken sex.
Yeah.
That's what my point was going to be before you interrupted me.
Sorry.
It's a truly wham bam, thank you ma'am situation.
It really is. And it's not...
Which I didn't know.
No, and it's not attractive. There is no foreplay. It's just...
And now we know how the rooster can do so many chickens in one day. Because he can do them all in 1 hour, technically.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, chickens aren't like other birds. Well, actually they did say some of the chickens, some of the roosters do this little dancey thing where they dip their wing and they do.
It depends on the breed.
Yeah. But I'm just kind of like, okay, could we please? No, but all right. There were in the few.
You've already talked about it longer than it actually lasted in the film.
Yeah. I was kind of like, this is another reason I'm so glad we don't have children, because I wouldn't want to be a parent trying to explain that one. I think it's... I mean, if you're someone that grew up in a farm, you probably already knew all this stuff. But if you're someone like me that, grew up in the suburbs...
City kid.
But you grew up in farm country. You didn't grow up on a farm.
Wheat country.
Huh?
Wheat country, not animal country.
Yeah, but you were in 4-H. I mean, that has to count.
No, I wasn't. I was in FHA. That's a completely different thing.
Oh, sorry. Well, what did you think of it?
I loved it. I thought it was great. It was a very interesting portrait of these three people in their world of competitive chickens, which I didn't realize existed till this film came out.
We didn't know there was speed typing contests until Populaire. So.
No, that's true. It truly is a really intimate portrait of these three people, and you might go in thinking, wow, these people are strange. I mean, Brian, who's normally a singer, Brian Carricker, who's normally a singer in Branson, he performs with an oldies show there. I mean, he was going to lose his job because he wanted to take 2 days off.
I know.
To go to this competition. And I felt horrible. I mean, what kind of employer would not let you have 2 days off? Don't you guys have swing and understudy people?
Really?
And I mean, he said some pretty nasty things about Branson. I've actually had friends go there and they enjoyed themselves, but I felt really bad for him. And they all had little stories to tell about past incidences where things had gone wrong. We saw Sherry's. The two Brians also had problems over the years. But they love what they do.
They do.
They love it with a passion. And that's really something. It is marketed as a comic documentary, but I don't think it's that funny. There are a few places that are funny because of the stories that particularly Brian Knox has to tell. Brian Knox has to tell. But it is a genuine portrait of these people, their families, their friends, and the people surrounding the world of competitive poultry showing, which I didn't know existed.
No, I mean, I didn't either. I gave it a B+.
I give it an A-. I think it's a really good film and a lot of fun to watch. You might not think you're interested at the beginning, but stick with it because it really is ultimately a very rewarding film, and it will leave you without egg on your face. Chicken People is showing now on CMT cable and will be repeating through the end of the year.
Although if you get hungry for KFC, it's not our fault.
Oh, ouch.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
So if you missed the memo, it's award season. And we've got the latest right here. The Film Independent Spirit Award nominations were announced on Thursday. We speculated about them last week on the show, and here they are. And I have to admit, I actually got some love. Not what I wanted, but I got some love for my films here. For Best Picture, the nominees are American Honey, Chronic, Jackie, Manchester by the Sea, and Moonlight. For Best First Feature, the nominees are which goes to the first feature by a director and also goes to the producer. Nominees are The Childhood of a Leader, director Brady Corbett, The Fits, director Anna Rose Holmer, Other People, director Chris Kelly, Swiss Army Man, directors Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, and The Witch, director Robert Eggers. The John Cassavetes Award, which goes to a best feature made for under $500,000. The nominees are Friend Indeed, Hunter Gatherer, Love Song, Nakam, and Spa Night. Most of these I've not heard of, I admit. For Best Director, the nominees are Andrea Arnold for American Honey, Barry Jenkins for Moonlight, Pablo Larraín for Jackie, Jeff Nichols for Loving, and Kelly Reichardt for Certain Women. For Best Screenplay, the nominees are Moonlight, Barry Jenkins, story by Terrell Alvin McCraney, Manchester by the Sea, Kenneth Lonergan, 20th Century Women, Mike Mills, Little Men, Ira Sachs and Mauricio Zacharias, and Hell or High Water, Taylor Sheridan. For Best First Screenplay, the nominees are The Witch, Robert Eggers, Other People, Chris Kelly, Barry, Adam Mansbach, Jean of the Joneses, Stella Meggie, and Christine, Craig, I lost my page here. Craig Shilowitz, I believe it's pronounced. For Best Cinematography, the nominees are Friend Indeed, The Childhood of a Leader, The Eyes of My Mother, Moonlight, and American Honey. For Best Editing, the nominees are Swiss Army Man, Manchester by the Sea, Moonlight, Hell or High Water, and Jackie. For Best Female Lead, the nominees are Annette Bening, 20th Century Women, Isabelle Huppert for Elle, Sasha Lane for American Honey, Ruth Nega for Loving, and Natalie Portman for Jackie. For Best Male Lead, the nominees are Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea, David Harewood for Friend Indeed, Viggo Mortensen for Captain Fantastic, Jesse Plemons for Other People, and Tim Roth for Chronic. For Supporting Female, the nominees are Edwina Findlay for Friend Indeed, Paulina Garcia for Little Men, Lily Gladstone for Certain Women, Riley Keough for American Honey, and Molly Shannon for Other People. For Best Supporting Male, the nominees are Ray Fiennes for A Bigger Splash, Ben Foster for Hell or High Water, Lucas Hedges for Manchester by the Sea, Shia LaBeouf for American Honey, and Craig Robinson for Morris in America. The Robert Altman Award, which is given to the cast of a particular film, as well as the director and casting director, this year goes to Moonlight. Director Barry Jenkins and ensemble cast Mahershala Ali, Patrick DeSille, Naomi Harris, Alex Hibbert, Andre Holland, Jarrell Jerome, Janelle Monáe, Jaden Piner, Trevante Rhodes, and Ashton Sanders. The nominees for Best Documentary are 13th, and my page is going wonky again. 13th, I Am Not Your Negro, OJ, Made in America, Sonita, and Under the Sun. And for Best International Film, the nominees are Aquarius, Brazil, Chevalier, Greece, My Golden Days, France, Tony Erdmann, Germany and Romania, and Under the Shadow, Iran and the UK. And there's also some producers and Someone to Watch awards also nominated. The Spirit Awards will be handed out the day before the Oscars on that, which would be, I believe that would be February 25th this year. I'm not sure. Always happens on a Saturday afternoon in the giant tent on Santa Monica Beach. I'm overjoyed. They're the wrong nominations, but I'm overjoyed that Little Men picked up 2 nominations for Best Screenplay. By the way, you can now get the screenplay for Little Men online. I will have a link in the show notes for you to check it out. Be warned that the ending of the film is different than the ending of the shooting script. They dropped the last 2 or 3 pages from the actual film. At least they did on the festival cut we saw. So I don't know if they put it back in because it's part of the shooting script. I don't know. And Paulina Garcia, who plays Tony's mom in the film, I really, really wanted to see Theo Taplitz get nominated here, and I'm very disappointed that it didn't happen. Chronic surprised the crap out of people because it was not a big hit. It didn't do that well. It came and went. It got a couple nominations, but American Honey is the darling of the Spirit Awards with 6 nominations. American Honey, one of the best reviewed films of the year, released in early October. It came and went in a week. Most people did not get a chance to see it. I don't know when it's due on video. I think in February. But it got rave reviews starting way back at Sundance and focuses on a group of kids who are selling magazines door to door under the leadership of this charismatic kind of magazine pimp, for better term, set in the late 80s, and it's supposed to be funny and thrilling and poignant, and it got nominations for 3 of its actors, including Shia LaBeouf, which is, you would think he would be a pariah these days, but his performance in this film was widely praised. And Spirit Awards will be happening in mid-February, and we will keep you up to date on other awards every week right here on Red Carpet Monitor. Next week we'll have the Annies and the Critics' Choice Awards and a number of other ones to bring up, I'm sure.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
His movies.
Way to go, Charlie!
I think it rips through your clothes when it takes you over.
More human than human is our motto.
He tasks me, and I shall have him.
Her movies.
The hills are alive.
You're so jealous you can hardly breathe.
The rum!
Yes, the rum is gone.
Why is the rum gone?
Suddenly my life doesn't seem such a waste.
Fuzzy Fur Movies. The Cavebabble Podcast. We babble about the movies you love.
And probably a few that you love to hate.
Find out more at cavebabble.com. Also available on iTunes, Stitcher, and by Smoke Signal. C-A-V-E. Babble. Cavebabble.com. Movies for him, her, and you.
If you're looking for great films, well, that's okay. You'll like us anyway. Subject Cinema.
Who wears short shorts? We wear short shorts. They're such short shorts. We like short shorts. Who wears short shorts? We wear short shorts.
Of course, you can't have a cartoon without a short. That's like having half an Oreo. So we get a short with Moana. The short was called Inner Workings. Inner Workings is the story of one day in the life of a man named Paul. And we are looking at Paul from the inside out. And I don't mean by looking at his emotions and stuff. We're literally getting into Paul's viscera and his brain and his kidneys.
Ew,
and
that sounds like it's that sounds slimy and icky and nasty.
it does sound like an episode of The Walking Dead, don't it? But it's all animated and cartoony, so it's cute. Paul's brain, being the brain, wants Paul to, stay on the straight and narrow, go to work on time, be at work and do his job and stuff like that. And the rest of Paul's body is going along with this, reluctantly. His stomach wants to go have a nice big pancake breakfast. His heart wants to go play around at the beach and flirt with a female sunglasses vendor. But the brain's like, nope, not having any of that. We have to go to work.
Why does the brain do that, though?
Because it's your brain.
No. Explain why the brain continues to, avoid stuff like that. Because the brain keeps seeing him dead in a coffin of all these different reasons.
The brain worries that if Paul has this big pancake breakfast, he's going to get fat and die of a heart attack. If he goes and plays at the beach, he's going to get eaten by a shark. If he flirts with the lady sunglass vendor, he's going to die of embarrassment, or he'll miss work and die on the street. Basically, Paul's brain has a smidge of OCD. Just a smidge. Like the size of Minnesota.
Yeah. And all of Canada. Anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. So Paul's brain puts the kibosh on everything that Paul's heart wants to do, until Paul's brain finally notices that Paul's pretty frickin' miserable. And if it doesn't let up and let Paul have some fun, Paul's going to lead, he's going to exist. He's not going to live. Mm-hmm. Existing and living are two entirely different things.
Yep.
And eventually, Paul lives.
Directed by Leo Matsuda, Paul seems to be based on the younger version of, what's his name, from Up? Carl. He looks a lot like Carl from Up as a young man. The square head and everything is designed the same way.
He's much taller, though.
Yeah, he is. This is a brilliant thing done by Leo. He says that it was inspired by the leaflets in the Encyclopedia Britannica, where you could lay over the plastic and see where all the different organs were.
I remember that.
Yeah.
My dad had a set of Encyclopedia Britannica, and I remember looking at those and seeing the heart and the brain and all that stuff, and I thought it was cool.
It takes a good inspiration from the musical version of The Producers too, and Matthew Broderick's character Leo Bloom in one particular sequence, right out of that movie almost. There's some really interesting things going on. What did you think about this? This is on the shorts list. It is one of 10 shorts that made the final list for the animated short subject Oscar this year, along with Piper from Finding Dory, which is going to be a killer, and 8 other ones we're unfamiliar with. What did you think?
I loved this. I thought this was I thought this had a really important message to tell. I mean, it's important to go to work and earn money and be responsible and blah 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 blah, grown up blah blah. That's all important. It should not be all encompassing. You have to be able to have fun. Fun is important. Now, everybody's idea...
Everybody sing the fun song from SpongeBob.
No.
Oh, okay.
That is not fun. That is annoying. I mean, everybody's idea of fun is different. I mean, some people's idea of fun is, running around the beach and going surfing and stuff like that, or flying a kite, or, some people's idea of fun is playing Sudoku.
Or roller disco, or, or getting flogged within an inch of your life. That's an entirely adult fun.
Reading books about serial killers. That's some people's idea of fun.
Hi, Stacey. Anyway.
But I thought this was really adorable, and I really liked the message behind it, and I like how it was played out. The bladder jokes were a little like, oh, that's so male. But
yeah, they were very male.
I'm just like, ew, do we really have to go there?
Well, the brain activates everything else by doing a spittoon, like, to like...
Yeah, like thinking. Well, like electrons.
But it's done like it looks like to me that the brain is spitting on the other organs.
Okay, well. I thought it was really sweet and charming, beautifully drawn. I graded it. I gave it an A-.
I give it an A. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely one of Disney's continuing growing library of current classic shorts.
What are we going to do this year for the animated shorts? This is going to suck.
We don't actually do those on the awards, so we don't have to worry about it. But we know which ones we're going to root for. We can't decide that till we see the Academy Award winning short thing every year in February. So it's hard to tell. But
I like Piper so much.
It's going to be hard to tell. Inner Workings is now showing everywhere with Moana, so you'll get a chance to see it when you see that film.
All movies, all the time. Subject Cinema.
Plug Central.
Oh, yeah, this is the segment where we talk about ourselves. And actually, we're only going to talk about one thing. Cyber Monday is coming up. That is November 28th. And we have a Patreon campaign running right now.
Yes,
and so it's time to get your Cyber Monday fingers on the button and get out there and get over to patreon.com/PNRNetworks and donate. Because anybody who donates and who joins our donation at $10 a month or above will be entered into a drawing at the end of the week. You can do it anytime this week, Monday through Friday. It'll cut off Friday at midnight. All of the new people who have joined us at $10 or above during this week will be thrown into a drawing.
Good times and great movies.
Will get from
Subject
us
Cinema.
a voucher for either the Moana soundtrack or the soundtrack from a street cat named Bob. Your choice. From your choice of services, Amazon, iTunes, whichever. We will get you guys a voucher, 5 winners. You have to join and commit to Patreon at $10 a month or above in order to do that. It has to be done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they'll be up on the website if you missed this, and on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else. So, enter, help us out, have a chance at winning something extra. In addition to the perks that come with those levels, you'll get entered into this drawing. It's only going to happen this week. and it's because we love the music from both movies so much that we want to help spread the word, and so we will commit to giving those out to you.
And we want you to win something.
Yes,
Because giving away stuff is fun.
We're giving away great stuff with our perks anyway. If you've been over and checked out our perks, we've got, you know, the usual stuff, Twitter shout-outs and Facebook shout-outs, but we've also got some pretty cool things, including a Casey Kasem-like shout-out on Subject Cinema, you know, once a month or so until, you know, or however many people we get. You know, Subject Cinema is made possible by great Patreon friends, like, for at a certain level.
Yep.
And we got really good freebies for our top level. I don't expect very many people are going to be up there, but you get benefits all year with that, including free movie tickets, a free movie log, plus all the below benefits like the cool stickers package we're putting together. We hope to have out in early 2017, and all kinds of other stuff. The reason we're coming to Patreon is because, well, we need a little extra support because we are in desperate need of some new equipment. And we hope that that will continue beyond that so we can continue to do more and more for you as listeners and fans of not just Subject Cinema, but all of the PNR Networks family. That includes Subject Cinema and its spin-offs Front Row 5 and 10, 3-Minute Weekend, Tuesday Digidex, and the upcoming Real Rewind. It includes Platinum Rose's Garden, Kim's Show. It includes Cavebabble from Eric and Valerie Lyon, and all of our websites. For a donation of even $2 a month, which is our low level, you get a certain, perk, and you get to help us out a little bit. Right now, I'll be honest, we're operating okay, but we'd like to do a little bit better. And we desperately need a new preamp. We're unable to do interviews at this point. We can't take phone calls on the computer because something about the preamp won't work with the computer. We've been that way for over a year, and we're going to need to get something squared away. So I'm trying to get a decent production computer, a new preamp, a new mixer, and a few other things. And if you continue to donate, and as the money continues to grow, we'll be able to do some other stuff that we've always loved to do. We'll be able to sponsor a few of the local film festivals. We have sponsored Salem in the past, and we hope that you will do that. We'll be able to expand our coverage of these wonderful local film festivals, and possibly, Holy Grail style, if people do commit to enough of working with us on Patreon, we might even be able to set foot in Park City or Toronto or Austin or a number of other big cities that do major film festivals, but we can't do it without your help. We can do from afar, but we can't do in-person stuff without your help. And it's going to be, we've been on running for about a month now, and we know we haven't been terribly active over there, and I've got to get a whole bunch of other stuff going in the next week also. But now is the time. We're at the end of the year. You're at the end of the fiscal year. You know where your funds are going to be. Most of you should know where your funds are going to be. Take the time and say, I'm going to commit X amount to PNR Networks because I love their programming. That's all we're asking you to do. It doesn't have to be much, and any amount will help us out and help build toward what we need to do. I mean, even if it doesn't come completely, it will help defray the cost that we need to spend out of our own pocket for all this stuff, which we've been doing now for over a decade.
Yeah, it absolutely
this is crazy. We have been through 4 computers since this show started. We're on our 4th computer. We have been through 3 preamps because we burned out the first 2. We have not had an actual mixing board, which I have desperately wanted for a long time, and they're expensive. They run anywhere from $200 to $500 depending on what perks you get. And I got some great video ideas coming up in the future, and we'd like to do more with video on YouTube, and we've already got the shows over there now, and it's having an effect. YouTube and SoundCloud are providing a huge boost to listeners, and we hope that they'll provide a huge boost to patrons as well. Please become a part of our Patreon campaign and become a Subject Cinema and PNR Networks patron. It's hard to say that, you know?
It's not easy, no.
Go over to PNRNetworks.com go over to patreon.com /PNR Networks, or go to any PNR Network site, eCinemaOne, eCinemaBoston, and so on and so forth, and click on the giant Patreon button. It'll take you right over there. We will have exclusive stuff on the Patreon site in the next few weeks. We got some bloopers we're going to have over there, which only our Patreon supporters will get. We've got an interview coming up that will be only our Patreon listeners can get. You've got to be on Patreon to get all the extra bonuses. and all the perks that we have to offer. So please take the time and $2 or $10 or $100, whatever you want to do it and have fun and help us by becoming a part of the official Subject Cinema PNR Networks Patreon family. And I think that's going to do it for Plug Central this week.
This is the place to be. You're listening to Subject Cinema with T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown.
When was the last time you were totally sober, James?
I was 11.
You once asked me how long
I want to be clean. I want to live a life.
it takes to mend a broken heart.
I think this is his last shot.
But it's like a river song.
I have to get him off the street or I'm going to lose him.
It never really ends.
Welcome home.
I don't know what to say.
And all that really matters is you don't stop trying. Don't give up.
Hello? Whoever's there, you better leave.
It's the subject of an internet meme. Is that what they're called? Memes?
Mm-hmm.
That also became a best-selling book, and now it is a best-selling film, or aims to be a best-selling film. The true story of a street musician who got his act together and probably is still alive thanks to a street cat named Bob. Give us the rundown.
Okay. A Street Cat Named Bob is the story of James Bowen. James is a young man who is in a really dark place right now. He is a recovering addict. He was addicted to heroin and is now taking methadone. He is separated from his family. His parents divorced when he was younger. And he has his relationship with his father, who still is in this country, is not good. He is he's been put into housing by his support worker, Val, who believes that he can actually turn his life around this time. And he is working slowly to pull away from drugs and to actually, live his life. He's making what money he can as a busker or street musician in Covent Garden. And he is playing and making this, trying to make it work. In his new flat, one night he is taking a bath and he hears a noise. Arming himself with a weapon, or shoe in the common vernacular, James goes out to check out what the noise is and finds he has a visitor in his house. A cat. A ginger Tom cat has gotten into his house and is eating cornflakes. Because cats apparently eat cornflakes. Go figure.
If they're hungry enough,
if they
probably will.
Enough, they do. James tries to get the cat. He tries to find out who the cat belongs to, and the cat apparently belongs to him, as much as cats can ever belong to anybody. He gives the cat the name Bob, and Bob...
Well, actually, that's not quite true. The scary lady next door said that the cat said his name was Bob.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The cat winds up getting injured, and James brings the cat to his next door neighbor, Betty, who he knows is a dog walker and has an affinity for animals. And Betty, right, as his TC says, tells James that the cat's name is Bob because the cat told her that. Why not? James starts realizing that Bob is not going anywhere. Bob is going to stay with him. Bob has, for lack of a better word, chosen him. And the strange thing is, once Bob becomes part of his life and part of his busking, because the cat sits on his shoulders and sometimes on his guitar while he plays, people notice him. They don't just look at some druggie with a guitar. They look at him as what he actually is, a human being. And... sorry. Life starts to change in a good way for James and for Bob. And that's the beginning of an amazing, beautiful story. about how one life can help another life and make the world, a little happier, which I think the world needs a lot.
With Lou Treadaway as James Bowen, Ruta Gidminis as Betty, Joanne Froggatt as Val, Anthony Head as James's father, Nigel, with Beth Goddard, Darren Evans, Caroline Goodall, Rusheen, Nina Wadia, Frank Ashman, Ivana Basic, Lorraine Ashbourne, and a number of other people, and Street Cat Bob as Street Cat Bob. What'd you think?
I told myself I wasn't going to get emotional again because I cried through the majority of this movie, which I knew was going to happen because I saw the trailer and cried at a bus station. So obviously I have no problem with embarrassing myself because I have no shame gene. This movie is just wonderful. It's touching. It's beautiful. It's a story of love and redemption. And there's a saying that if you can't love yourself, you can't love anybody else. I'm not entirely sure I agree with that statement because if you can love somebody else and give something of yourself to somebody else, maybe that teaches you that you can be loved back. And I think that's James and Bob's story. This movie is just wonderful. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. It touches your soul. It really, really does. What about you?
Lou Treadaway is one of my favorite actors, and here he is absolutely brilliant as James. He is able to portray this character from the depths of his beginnings to where he ends up at the end of the film, and makes an amazing transition. Luke also does all of his own singing in the film and is a big part of the soundtrack album released. I just thought he can handle pretty much anything, and this is one of the best performances of his career. Absolutely fantastic. It was nice to see Anthony Head again. I haven't seen him since Buffy the Vampire Slayer ended. I didn't recognize him right away. I'm like, where do I know that name? Because he's gone all gray. But as James's father, wow, he's interesting. And we get a little bit more about him at the end of the film that we don't expect, and that's kind of nice, too. Joanne Froggatt, who's been on Downton Abbey on an irregular basis, is great as Val, James's social worker. She has a great chemistry and obviously cares for the people that she works for. And Ruta Gedminis, who plays Betty, his neighbor, who's afraid of him at first, but they start to have a friendship and a possible other relationship going on as she tries to get them to interested in vegan food like tofu and tries to get him to tell his story and she tells hers. It gets very in-depth. But the best performance in the film really has to be stated. This movie belongs to its namesake. Bob the Cat has been a namesake since James' book came out in 2012. And Bob, the actual cat, plays Bob here, along with 6 other look-alike stand-ins. And he's brilliant. I've never seen a cat take direction so well. Mm-hmm. He's obviously a big part of this film. You've seen people who say never work with children and animals. Well, there's both in this film. The children are horrid, and the animal is quite possibly a guardian angel from the other side. We were both complete basket cases at the end of this film, and deservedly so. It's one of the best films of the year and really an uplifting story. There's 2 different books out by James about Bob and his relationship with him.
Actually, there's more.
There's more now.
Yeah.
Okay, there were 2 according to the end of the film, and I'm going to look those up, and I can't wait to see more about what goes on with a street cat named Bob. What's your score?
like there could be absolutely any doubt. This film gets an A+ from me.
I give it an A+ too. It's worth it. And the sad thing is,
why is this film not playing in
everywhere.
Every theater in this country? Why?
It is in limited release around the country right now and is expanding slowly throughout most of major markets. For some reason, Boston, it was relegated to the Cape Ann Cinema and Stage in Gloucester. We haven't seen it in Boston proper yet, but then again, Boston proper didn't get Tom at the Farm last year either. If it comes to your area, don't miss it. If it doesn't, watch for it on demand. You won't be disappointed.
When it comes to everything movies, we've got it. Subject Cinema.
The Last Reel.
Always uplifting news to take you out on the last reel. This week, weddings and babies.
Yay!
Mark Ballas, best known as a professional dancer on Dancing with the Stars, as a musician, and also currently starring in the last few months of Broadway's Jersey Boys, about the 4 seasons. Married his longtime girlfriend, BC Jean, over the weekend. BC Jean is one of his musicians in his band. Her real full name is Brittany Jean Carlson. They got engaged a year ago at Thanksgiving, and this week they traded vows in Los Angeles with his best man, Derek Hoff, by his side.
Yep.
Mark and Jean make a very cute couple. They've performed together on Dancing with the Stars a couple of times over the last couple of years. Mark does have some great independent music out you can get on Amazon and independent. He's a phenomenally good musician as well. And so we wish them a happy couple all the best. Hope they enjoy their honeymoon, and we'll see them both back on the small screen soon, I hope.
Mm-hmm. And we have baby news, because what could be happier than a new baby? We would like to send here at Subject Cinema our...
It depends. Is it Boss Baby?
No.
Okay. Boss Baby is scary.
Yeah.
It's coming next year.
Would you... we would like to send our congratulations out to professional wrestler and actor Randy Orton. Randy and his wife...
WWE movies don't count.
Is it a paycheck?
Yes.
Is it a credit on the IMDb?
Is it in theaters? Okay.
Okay, that would... All right. Anyway, Randy and his wife, Kimberly, had their first child on November 22nd of this year. Her name is Brooklyn Rose Orton, and she came into the world at a healthy 8 pounds. So congratulations to them. Yay!
No, is that his first?
No, actually, that's his second daughter. He has a daughter from his previous marriage. Her name is Alana Marie.
Good. So congratulations to Randy and Kimberly Orton on the birth of their daughter, and
yes.
Mark and BC Jean on their wedding. And that's the last reel for this week. So it's been a busy week. We had lots of good films in. I cannot stress enough, Moana in theaters everywhere is really a fantastic movie. But take a few minutes and seek out A Street Cat Named Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Look for it when it comes to your area. Unless you have a heart of stone or ice...
Or you're a Vulcan.
This movie is going to melt you. And it's absolutely brilliant and funny and touching and fluffy. Meow. And there's one good thing. Of all the films we've seen this week, there's no chickens in this one.
No, there are no chickens.
But Chicken People's worth watching on CMT too.
There are mice.
There are mice. Yes, and a frog. We got lots of great stuff coming up over the next week. We're going to have plenty of awards coverage on the website at eCinemaOne. We'll have it all here next week as well. Platinum Rose Garden off this week, but we'll be back next week when the Sewin series returns for its after a week off for the holiday. Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie Lyons should be back online shortly. And our friend Anthony Lamberti is still having audio problems. He's been through hell the last month trying to figure out what's wrong with his computer system. No matter what he does, he's checked the mic, he's checked the computer. He will be back as soon as he can get his technical issues straightened out. and he's going to try and record some stuff with a friend this week, so we have him back on the show, and that'll be fun. We hope that you'll take the time to enter the Patreon contest. You got to sign up with Patreon this week, Monday through Friday, and you'll be in the drawing to get either the Moana or the Street Cat Named Bob soundtrack downloads, courtesy of Subject Cinema, and also from whichever service you would choose, iTunes, Amazon, whatever. It'll be very cool, and you're committing to a good cause, helping us to get a few new desperately needed equipment.
Yep.
And we hope you'll do that and continue to listen and spread the word. Everybody out there, all your friends who love movies, please tell them. Subject Cinema, the second oldest podcast about movies on the planet, is still going strong, 11 years plus. Don't forget, December's going to be very busy. In addition to all of the award stuff that we're going to be bringing you, we have our own awards to come toward your way. The Just 'Cause We Can Awards will be coming your way on Christmas Eve, and the Poppies and Rosies on New Year's Eve, and the weekend between there, probably on Tuesday or Wednesday, our official top films of the year announcement, our Baker's Dozen, Dynamite Dozen. And it's going to be busy, and we're going to be trying to catch up. You're probably going to hear more reviews each week rather than the regular segments, because we have about 20 films we need to see between now and the end of next week, really. For my Critic Wire thing, I'm going to have to bump a whole bunch of films because I'm not a chance to see them. But they may change considerably by the time we get to the Poppies and Rosies on New Year's Eve. We hope you'll keep listening. We hope you'll join our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/PNRNetworks, and write to us every week right here on Subject Cinema at PNRNetworks.com. Don't forget, we're now available on a variety of sources, including iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn.com, now available on iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, YouTube. Don't forget to leave comments on all of those sites. Wherever you listen to, leave a comment and let them know why you like the show, hopefully, or why you don't like the show. No, please don't like the show. Anything else?
No, I think that'll do it.
Time to fly the coop.
Reprise the theme song and roll the credits. Whenever my life gets me so down, I know I can go down to where the music and the fun never ends. As long as the music keeps playing, you know what I'm saying. I know that I can find a friend down at the Roundhouse.
For Subject Cinema, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
I can't think of another chicken joke. Can you?
Nothing to crow about, no.
Bye-bye.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema theme performed by Eric Lyon. Subject Cinema is recorded and produced using Sony Vegas products. Subject Cinema is copyright 2016 by PNRNetworks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
That's all.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.